would show you one more tip or trick that could be helpful to you in creating your layered contour drawings. Or if you have a drawing that you want to transfer to canvas or any sort of heavier, sturdier paper. This is a way that I learned in college. I know that there are some different ways people have to this approach, but this was the way that I was taught. And so I always use this way when I want to transfer a drawing to incorporate it into another piece of artwork. So I have here, this was just basic plain old tracing paper, nothing fancy. I have a contour drawing here that I did, and I just want to take only the sunflower shape from it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay my tracing paper over top of the image where I want it, and I am going to just trace that. You can trace onto it really with anything. I'm just going to use pencil here, and since maybe I want the heart shape, maybe I don't. I think I'll include the heart shape here, so I'll just begin tracing it. It helps if you tape it down. I didn't tape it down for this demonstration, but normally when I'm doing this I would tape it down so that the tracing paper doesn't move, because it does have a tendency to crinkle. All right, so I'll speed this up. All right, now I have my finished contour drawing. So I have that, and I'm going to use it in a different piece of artwork that I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is switch out my paper. So I'm going to use this paper, or if I wanted to, I could use a clean sheet of paper, or if I wanted to use a different sheet type of paper. Let's say I want to make, put my drawing onto a red construction background. So I'm going to try this actually. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my image and I'm going to flip it over. And then this is where charcoal comes in handy. So I've got a big, thick piece of charcoal. This is the type of charcoal that I used. It just comes in a pack of 6, so nothing fancy. And I'm only going to go over, so this is the opposite side of where I traced, okay? So the tracing's on the other side. This is the back of it. And I'm just going to, actually I'm not going to do it on the paper because I don't want to have any marks come off my papers for a second so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to, again, it helps if you tape it down. And use the side and really go over like where the lines are going to be. Okay, this surface that I'm working on doesn't want to cooperate. I have like a really sturdy drawing board underneath here. And make it as dark as you can. Now there is another way that you can do this, and I will show you what that is, but it's a little bit, costs a little bit extra, and I like to save money. And this is the way that I was taught, so I just do it this way. But I will tell you that another thing you can use is these transfer papers. You do your tracing first, and then you put, you would, instead of doing charcoal on the back, this is basically the charcoal already being done for you. You would set this sheet of paper on top of your red paper, put the tracing on top of it, and then draw over it, and it transfers right onto your paper. That's one way you can do it. this is the way that I learned how to, and it's, if you don't want to spend money on graphite paper, just do it this way. So I am going to, let me see if I can find some tape. All right, I've got some painter's tape, which won't stick to my paper. So I am going to tape this drawing down. Now, put it where you want it on your paper. So if you want it in the center or off to the side or at an angle, so that could be a fun way to go. So I'm just gonna put mine at an angle just for something different. So I'm gonna tape it into place so it doesn't move while I'm tracing it again. And that's pretty good. I don't think that should be good. You might want to use a sharper pencil than what I have here. I don't have anything sharper right now, so that's just what I'm going to use. But I'm, again, going to trace back over top of it. Okay, now you can see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there is my transfer right there on the paper. Obviously, you can use a different medium if you want. What I like about the charcoal is that if you don't like something, you can smudge it away. Like, it's very easy to get rid of the lines afterward. But you can also just go back in and trace it to make it darker. Or you could use, say, an oil pastel if you want to, something like that. Yeah, actually, I think I'll do that for something different. I'm going to use an oil pastel, maybe in a different color to make it pop. Let's do yellow. Okay, so there is my transferred sunflower contour line drawing. Another way that you can do it is if you don't have charcoal at home, if you don't have charcoal, you can use oil pastels. Now, you would have to press a lot harder on the back of your paper. So let me move this for a second. Move that out of the way. All right, so if I was going to do it with oil pastel, it takes, here, I'm going to tape this down this way. Again, this is just painter's tape. Painter's tape is great when you're doing art because it doesn't rip your paper or snag it in any way. All right, so you can also use masking tape. All right, so I'm going to do some oil pastels. And this works really well if you are going to do watercolors and you just want your drawing transferred to watercolor paper. This is a great way if you don't mind having the oil pastel lines show up, because the watercolor paint will resist, or the oil pastels resist the water from the watercolor paints. So you'll still be able to see a strong contour line. So that's just another way that you can do it if you don't have charcoal on hand. And if you want, for our layered contour drawing that we are doing, that's the whole point, is we are layering with different media and different approaches. So maybe I want to create a design. My layered drawing is I'm going to try this a different way with the oil pastel this time. And this one will be probably a little bit stronger of a line. So I'm going to tape it down and trace it again. Your hands are really going to become very familiar with the shape of the object that you are doing transfers with. And that's okay. That's good. We want that. Try to move this so you guys can see it a little bit better. And I'll start up here at the circle again. Again, it really helps if your pencil is sharper, but I don't have a pencil sharpener handy. So the sharper the pencil, the harder you can press and get more of a fine line. Mine is very dull. I apologize for that. And it's harder the second time that you do it, over top of it, to remember exactly where your new lines are. But you want to press hard to make sure that the drawing is transferring. All right, let's see if this worked. And there we go. And this is what we're talking about when we mean layered contour drawings. You're just taking your contour drawings that you've already done, and you can transfer them in, or feel free to cut them out of your actual drawings. Like if you have a shoe drawing that you did and you want to add it to it, feel free to just cut it out and then glue it down and add those in, layer them over top of each other. But I like the effect of transferring them over on top of each other, and that's what we're talking about today.